Hi, and welcome to Bob Akmens Sports, America's #1 top sports handicapper since 1978. This is the third of 3 parts of our baseball betting tips video. In this third part, we'll discuss why a guy like Rudy La Russa has won world titles in both the American League and the National League. And is it better to bet sides or totals, favorites or dogs? And how about betting those run lines? Again, I'll leave these headphones where they are instead of putting them on so I don't look like Jenny at Time Life Books taking your phone order. There's no mystery why a guy like Tony La Russa has not only won with every team he's managed, but has finished in first place with each of his 3 teams, the A's, the White Sox, and the Cardinals, winning a couple of World Series along the way. Watch La Russa in the dugout when they cut to him. He's always checking his stats of opposing hitters, pitchers, situations, etc. I remember in the old days he used to have notebooks he'd look at all the time. Now he checks his stats on a laptop most of the time. This is a guy who does his homework and understands, as I do as a handicapper, that you have to look at the percentages and the probabilities, the actual reality of what has happened, and not just guess what you should do based on some sort of ancient, outmoded baseball code. As to the actual bets you make in baseball, is it better to bet sides, or is it better to bet totals, favorites or dogs, the money line or the run line? Well, the short answer to all of those questions is yes. You should bet what looks like will be a winner. I bet what my model tells me to do. Sometimes I do so painfully because it might not be the play I'd use if I hadn't crunched the numbers. But almost always the model will rule the day. And you know what? I've done much better with my own betting since I pretty much automated my handicapping procedures using these computer models. I don't get caught up in my own winning streaks or losing streaks. I just bet what the model tells me to. I do get questions every baseball season from clients who are interested in betting the run line instead of the money line on a game. If you're not familiar with that, here's how that works. Let's say Steroid Boy Clemens was a $1.90 favorite on the money line. To win a bet on that line, you'd lay, say, $190 to make a $100 profit. And regardless of whether Clemens finishes that game, which, as I've pointed out in earlier parts of this video, virtually no pitcher does these days, all you need is for Clemens' team to win the game for you to win the bet. Of course, if his team loses the game, you lose your $190. Now, what if you could lay only, say, $110 instead of the $190? But his team would have to cover a -1.5 run line as well. Meaning his team now has to not only win the game, but they have to win the game by 2 runs or more for you to win your bet. The bottom line is, if you win with this run line, you still win $100. If you lose only $110 in this example. Now it happens that sometimes a run line is an interesting adjunct to the money line, meaning a useful additional bet. Is it a good substitute for a money line bet, such that you don't bet the money line at all? Not in my estimation. Here's why. Baseball is, as noted above in the previous parts of this video, ultimately a game of strategy. The objective is to win the game. The entire nature of baseball is to work to create that sole run crossing home plate. Because if you can do that, your pitching staff and workmanlike defense can shut down the opponent. And you can and will win with that sole skinny run. Now, how often do you see a football final of 7-0? Hardly ever. Because the nature of football is to endlessly drive forward on each and every down. Unless, of course, you're trying to run out the clock with a lead. And sheer momentum sometimes creates scores in football. We won't even talk about basketball, where you go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Not so in baseball. So laying a run line puts baseball into yet another dimension. You now have to not only win, but win by multiple runs, which, as I pointed out, is contrary to the nature of baseball and what you're trying to accomplish in a baseball game, which is manufacture that sole, single, solitary run and sit on that lead. Because why on earth would you want to win big? There's no reason to. This is not a college football game where you're playing smash mouth football and you wish to win by 50 points so that some writer in Podunk can rank you high in the weekly polls. Your objective in baseball is simply, merely to win that game by one run. It doesn't matter whether you win 1-0 or 9-8. Therefore, the concept of a run line is just not something I'm fond of. And I just don't give out very many run line plays. I have given them out, but not many. What I will do for any client is this. Call me or email me with some time to research this for you. And I will tell you if there's any value in any given run line you're interested in. Now, I hope some of these points help you to make money betting baseball. I know they've made me a better bettor over the years. This concludes the third part of our baseball betting tips video. If you haven't watched the first two parts, please do so. There's some valuable insight in those video parts. And please do look over our site. I'm sure you'll find something you'll like. Again, thanks for visiting basports.com. And for the time being, this is Bob Akmens signing out.